butterfly that did not hatch properly. There's a lizard right there. Watch this. I'm going to see if it works.
Mine? I eat you now.
That's unreal that happened. It worked. That's the cycle of life.
Don't scare. Circle of life. That's not the right song. Hold on. What is the song? Is the circle of life? It's the circle of life.
You just can't sing it right.
Crazy. Just a waste of nature. Let's go.
Now I'll start. Okay, so just so everybody appreciates, we have now, the Viva family, delved into monarch butterfly cultivation because the Home Depot sells these milkweed plants. I don't know who's buying milkweed. They're all not infested with. They have the caterpillars on them that are the monarch butterflies. You can't really see it when you buy them. We bought the Home Depot stock, put them in the backyard. The caterpillars eat until they're fat little bastards. Then they go into their J motion. Then they go into their chrysalis, and then they hatch as butterflies. I did not know this. The whole thing is flipping amazing. I posted the video. You've all seen it. I've noticed we had 3 that didn't hatch from the chrysalis properly. I was doing not a time lapse. I was doing a video of one today. Ordinarily, they come out and they spread their wings within 30 minutes. This one was taking like 45 minutes, 50 minutes, an hour and a half later. It wasn't coming out of the chrysalis. And when it finally, we tried to help it, it had missed the opportunity. The wings didn't inflate. And what I understand happens is that the little fat torso of the butterfly injects, like it squeezes fluid into the wings, and that inflates them. If you've seen the video, it's amazing. You can see it happen. So if it misses that window of opportunity, the wings don't inflate, it doesn't fly. Apparently 20 to 40% of chrysalises don't successfully turn into a butterfly, and we're batting at about 28%, which is right within that realm. This dude we kept for 2 days, thought it might, eat on its own. We could have it as a cute butterfly. It didn't make it. And so I fed it to a lizard. I discovered this because we had a big ass palmetto bug in our house, and I said, it's like half dead. We'll go put it outside. And I saw a lizard. I just chucked it in the general direction. Lizard, bam, came right over and ate it. Look at this. The lizard's there. I just chuck it on the grass. If anybody doesn't find this amazing, I don't know what world. Oh, mine. I eat you now. Yeah. Okay. And he goes right for the fatty part of the thing, and then discards the wings later on. That's nature, people. It's beautiful. Good morning. It's not morning. It's Monday. Good Monday afternoon, people. I was going to start with the news video. Pete Hegseth, SignalGate 2.0. What else is going on today? The Democrats are going to die on the hill of defending wife-beating gang member illegal aliens. It's wild. And we've got some confirmation as to who financed Van Hollen's trip to go fight for the rights of illegal alien gang member wife-beating alleged human traffickers. We're going to get to that. We are going to talk about Canada, people. We've got to talk about Canada because it's a big-ass insane asylum. I've said as a joke, if you vote Liberal, you're an idiot. What's quite clear now is if you vote for the Liberals, you're an idiot, but you're probably mentally ill as well. And we're going to get into all of that. Welcome to Viva Fry, Monday afternoon. We are live on Rumble exclusively. I think we are also on Twitterverse, and we are live in vivabarneslaw.locals.com, where we have the best memes, above average community. Outlook_com says Canada. It's what's hot now. Canada's so hot. And I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. We're going to get into all of this. Thank the quartering for the raid. Everybody, welcome. Make sure that you're subscribed. I put all of the clips, not all of them, but I post the clips to YouTube. And the live streams are saved for Rumble, the free speech platform that supports free speech. This is not a sponsor, but download the app. It's free. Rumble app. Make sure you follow the channel. You get instant notifications whenever we go live. And that is the intro of the show, the circle of life. I know we have one other developmentally challenged butterfly that I'm going to go find a worthy lizard to feed later on. But today, now, let's get to scandal number 1. And I'm putting scandal in quotes. We're going to talk about a manufactured scandal 2.0 and what the Democrats and the left and propagandist media does so well. They try to sow discord among allies. It's like You'll notice which side of the political ideological spectrum tries to get involved with, sowing divides between parents and children, between spouses, between family, and between ideological political allies. Everybody does it as a tactic, especially narcissists. But if I had to guess, I would say that there are statistically more narcissists within the capital P progressive, capital D Democrat, capital L liberal political parties. They're trying to go for SignalGate 2.0. For those of you who don't know, we'll get into a quick article on it, and then we're going to get into how they're trying to spin it. Rumor has it that Trump is looking for a new defense secretary, given all of the scandals of Pete Hegseth. Horse crap. But this is the news. Coming from Charlie Kirk. I want to play this because I can see this video. Some videos I can understand how it's one screen, two films. People look at the exact same thing and say, gosh darn, did Pete Hegseth answer that question well? And others are like, my goodness, did Pete Hegseth dodge that question like a scoundrel? Charlie Kirk writes, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth slams the, quote, Signal Chat controversy, end quote. Or if I'm British, the Signal Chat controversy. The only people who say controversy are idiots. There, I said that too, Brits. And confirms he's spoken to President Trump and they're, quote, on the same page all the way. Quote, a few leakers get fired and suddenly a bunch of hit pieces come out, and from the same media that peddled the Russia hoax won't give back their Pulitzers. I don't need to read the whole thing here. It's not going to work with me. This is the answer to the question. And in the chat, you will, by way of yay or nay, say, yes, he fielded this question properly. No, he what about it and did not answer it, and now I hate Pete Hegseth. Unlikely.
What do you want to say, sir, about the Signal Chat controversy?
What a big surprise.
Is there anything you want to say about the SignalGate controversy?
What do you want to say, sir, about the Signal Chat controversy?
What a big surprise that a few leakers get fired and suddenly a bunch of hit pieces come out from the same media that peddled the Russia hoax. Won't give back their Pulitzers. They got Pulitzers for a bunch of lies. Pulitzers for a bunch of lies. And on hoaxes, time and time and time again. And as they peddle those lies, no one ever calls them on it.
By the way, kids in the back, they are learning through osmosis right now. This is mildly performative. I like Pete Hegseth, but these kids are learning something right now. They don't even know that they're learning something, and that is the best type of learning.
See, this is what the media does. They take anonymous sources from disgruntled former employees, and then they try to slash and burn people and ruin their reputations. Not going to work with me, because we're changing the Defense Department, putting the Pentagon back in the hands of warfighters, and anonymous smears from disgruntled former employees on old news doesn't matter. So I'm happy to be here at the Easter egg roll with my dad and my kids, because this is what we're doing it for. These kids right here. This is why we're fighting the fake news media. This is why we're fighting slash and burn Democrats. This is why we're fighting hoaxsters. This group, this group right here, full of hoaxsters.
First of all, yes, if you're going to wear what are those things called? A handkerchief, it had better be an American flag handkerchief.
Peddle anonymous sources from leakers with axes to grind, and then you put it all together as if it's some news story. And when we know exactly what it is. So I'm really proud of what we're doing for the president, fighting hard across the board, and I'm going to go roll some Easter eggs with my kids. Thank you very much.
Roll some Easter eggs. Why does that sound like he's going to be hanging around with some MS-13 gang member? We're going to roll some Easter eggs, bro. It's 420 on Easter Sunday. I'm seriously, what is he? What is there? I know the Easter egg hunt. In fact, I'm still finding freaking Easter eggs around my house here, and the dogs have found a couple of them. Don't worry though, they're not chocolate.
President, sir, have you spoken to the president?
I have spoken to the president, and we are going to continue fighting on the same page all the way.
Hold on. Look right here. Look right here.
On the same page, and we are going to continue fighting on the same page all the way.
Wait, no, hold on. Sorry, I want
my kids. Thank you very much.
Right here.
Sir, have you spoken to the president?
How long, by the way, how long until they say Pete Hegseth strikes a little girl in the face? Look at the movement. They won't play that. Oh, and then they'll cut it right there. He hits the guy. I like that answer. Sorry if I'm making fun of that, but I like that answer. I may be biased because I kind of like Pete Hegseth. Where am I? I'm here. That is the answer he gave, and he's right on all counts. But if you hadn't heard what the actual SignalGate 2.0 scandal is. I have it. White House. No, not that one. Just to give you the rundown on it. Hegseth said to have shared attack details in second Signal chat. It's like Alex Jones was on the channel. Someone's going to loop this together like my Kamala Harris. I was born a poor... Alex Jones says, they use the same tactic over and over again, and they're going to go for a second kick at the SignalGate can. Hegseth said to have shared attack details in second Signal chat. The defense secretary sent sensitive information about sensitive, not classified, and sensitive is subjective, about strikes in Yemen to an encrypted group chat that included his wife and brother, people familiar with the matter said. Anonymous, editorializing, and anonymous. We'll see if they identify them. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth shared details about information of forthcoming strikes in Yemen on March 15 to a private Signal group chat that included his wife, brother, personal lawyer, according to 4 people with knowledge of the chat. Some of those said that the information Mr. Hegseth shared on the Signal chat included the flight schedules of the FA-18 Hornets, essentially the same attack plans he shared on the other one. Hegseth's wife, Jennifer, a former Fox News producer, is not a defense employee, Department of Defense, but she has traveled with him to overseas yada. Hegseth's brothers, Phil and Tim Parlatore, who continues to serve as his personal lawyer, both have jobs in the Pentagon, so not much of a big deal there. Previously unreported existence of a second Signal chat in which Mr. Hegseth shared highly sensitive military information is the latest in a series of developments that have put his management and judgment under scrutiny. Because we've reported on it, and because we have put his judgment under scrutiny, his judgment is therefore under scrutiny. This is the self-fulfilling loop of fake news. Unlike the chat in which the Atlantic was mistakenly included, the new one was created by Mr. Hegseth. It included his wife, a dozen other people, yada, yada, yada. Defense huddle. The continued inclusion following Mr. Hegseth's confirmation of his wife, brother, personal lawyer, none of whom had any apparent reason to be briefed on operational details of a military operation as it was getting underway, is sure to raise further questions about his adherence to security protocols. First of all, it sounds like it's part and parcel of the same time frame. And so in as much as any changes are going to be implemented on a going forward basis, you can't undo the past. And they might be able to find 2 other group chats that would have violated whatever protocol they think should have existed at the time. The chat revealed by the... we don't need to get into that. So that's the scandal. It's not a scandal. It's actually a big fat load of crap. But they make it into the scandal. They make it into a narrative of, oh my, his judgment is under question. Trump is thinking about getting rid of him, so that they can then write bullshit hit pieces like this. Times of Israel, which from what I understand is basically like Israel's version of the CNN. I think it's pretty objectively left-leaning. Times of Israel reports as follows. White House said to begin finding new defense secretary given latest Hegseth scandal. This is like someone reporting on someone else's wife cheating on their husband. And they report on it and they say, and the husband and wife are like, the hell are you talking about? Honey, are you cheating on me? The news said you're cheating on me. This is intended to sow discord and to give the impression of the existence of discord that doesn't actually exist within allied political units. And in as much as the left loves to do this with parents and son, much like they got the kid of the Jan 6er to turn his father in, much like they try to encourage kids to get involved in transgender ideology to drive them away from their parents. And then if they have fights, they say, oh my God, your parents don't love you. Pete Hegseth, Trump doesn't love you. He's trying to get you out of there. Oh, did you hear the news? Let's hear this, anonymous sources. The White House has begun the process of looking for a new defense secretary, given the latest scandal. NPR reports citing unnamed U.S. official. I mean, it's just amazing. The White House and U.S. President Donald Trump have publicly come out in defense of Hegseth, following a report that he shared details of a March, whatever. So an unnamed official is saying that they're looking, but the White House has come out and said, now, I would be saying, obviously, if they are looking, the last thing they would do is confirm the rumor. But I don't believe it. Is that it? What is this? Join the community. Hells to the bells, no. The White House, whatever, that's about it. So that's the manufactured scandal controversy of the day. They're trying to sow discord. They're trying to manufacture the crisis so they can manufacture the narrative, so they can try to create as much turmoil for the Trump administration as humanly possible. It's probably a whole hell of a lot of nothing and rubbish. Oh, those are the 2 quick ones, peeps. Let me go over to our vivabarneslaw.locals.com community and see what the memes are today. Biden honored trans visibility on Easter 2024. Trump honors Jesus Christ's resurrection on Easter 2025. We are not the same. I remember that. The argument when Biden did that last year was that it just so happened that the Trans Day of Visibility fell on Easter, and they didn't do it as a deliberate snub to Easter. If you believe that, I've got something to sell you. Encryptus says bullshit over in our locals community. I agree. NPR is the source of so much, quote, truth, end quote, says grumpy old man. It's the same tactic over and over again. They try to torpedo the administration so that it can't get anything done, so that it gets distracted by manufactured controversy, and that's how they rule. When they're not in power, that's what they do in order to tie up the hands of the administration. It's what they did with Russiagate. It's what they did with Bleachgate. It's what they did with Fine People Gate. Lie after lie after lie. But who knows? Maybe this time they're right and Hegseth is going to be out next week. I doubt it. Not a guarantee. People, we're going to save the Van Hollen bit for a little later. Do we want to take a trip north of the border, people, and talk about what's going on in Canada? We have to. I'm sorry if you Americans are not interested in it. You should be, because by this time next week, let me rephrase, by a week and a day from today next week, you might have a Chinese satellite officially in Canada lurking over the northern part of America. The election in Canada is April 28th, next Monday. We have a week to figure out if Canada is going to go the way of the commie, go the way of the Chinese Communist Party, or by itself maybe a couple of weeks, months, or years by going Poilievre. If you haven't seen what the Liberals up in Canada are doing, you're going to think you're going crazy. You're going to think Canada is filled with mentally unhinged, mentally unchallenged people. And you might not be wrong. I'm Canadian. And I just did an interview with Megan Murphy, actually. She's the PPC candidate who has had her Canadian bank account frozen. And we were talking about some of the hate we get for people who have fled, left Canada, however you want to call it. And people say, Viva, you don't know what it's like in Canada. You're too far removed. You're detached. You've been Americanized by American politics. You don't know what's going on the ground here. Sometimes you actually get your clearest view of the lay of the land from an airplane. You don't see the lay of the land and the topography when you're in the valley and can't see over the mountains. You don't see the lay of the land when you're in the thick of the forest. Sometimes in order to really see what the landscape is, you got to be up in a plane flying over it, not flying in it. I think, having come out of that insane asylum of a country, that I see more clearly what's going on in Canada, not less clearly. And I would suggest that people trapped behind the Maple Gulag, the Iron Rainbow, they see less clearly what's going on in their own country, and they could use a little bit of my external clarity. It's a freaking insane asylum. Whether or not it's something in the water, whether or not it's 6 months of darkness and cold, it's an insane asylum, and the Liberals are the patients who unfortunately seem to be leading the takeover of the institution. This is Karima Rules. I've had her on the channel a few times. I like her. Documenting. So I trust Karima, and I trust that this is what it is, which it looks like a bunch of Liberals getting ready to vote for Carney, and they are batshit crazy.
Elbows up! 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 Elbows up!
That's Karima Sad right there. Now, there's a wonderful version of this going around where they're playing that song. These are Liberal supporters in line to vote for Carney, saying elbows up, no more Trump in Canada. These are the people who are going to determine the future of Canada, whether or not it goes for another 4 years after the last 10 years of the Liberals, or whether or not it gets a reprieve of the insanity. Do I have the ones, some of the middle fingers here? Do I have some of the middle fingers? I know I have the, here we go. Let's have a look at this one. This is another lineup. This is Dacey Media. Chris Dacey, go follow him. I shared his tweets with everybody yesterday. Watch this one. Mentally ill people. These are patients who have taken over the asylum, who are self-righteous in their pomposity, who think that their verbal violence, whatever, is all justified because they are fighting true evil. Whereas even if I think I'm fighting evil, you gotta wait until you use certain tactics. Watch this.
Hi, my name's Kate. I can tell you why you shouldn't vote for Pierre Poilievre. He's a liar. He's a thief. Are you casting this? Because I want to tell everybody this.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, put that on. Go ahead, put that on.
I will.
Yeah.
Don't you worry about it.
That's good because it's the truth.
Okay, sir. Yeah. Pardon me? You think that's a nice like, man? I'm just walking by you filming here. You got your wife giving the finger.
Why are you here? Why are you a conservative? Why? Why are you here then?
I live here.
What?
I live here.
Congratulations. Where do you live?
I grew up in Nepean. I live in Ottawa.
Okay, well, you vote for your candidate.
Okay.
Wherever she is, wherever that guy is.
I'm not with them. I'm filming, and you're giving me the finger and accosting me.
All right.
All right, we can stop there. There is elbows up. It's insanity. But they've taken it from elbows up to fingers up, and I've made a nice little montage here. We got this guy. There's a video of this guy doing it. This one is from Right Blend. I also know Right Blend. They're good. This one's Daisy Media, middle finger. This one is that guy now who's gone super viral, who may he become the face of the Liberal Party. These are the liberals. These are the peace-loving, tolerant, all-inclusive liberals who are vitriolic in their insanity. They're going to vote for the liberals again. I want to refresh some people's memories because I don't think people really remember. Oh, this was my full montage. Liberal Nazis, literal Nazis share like the future of Canada depends on it. That's me. That's the guy. Now, for those of you who don't recall, that's Hegseth Freeland posing with a scarf of Nazi origin in support of Ukraine. That's Karina Gould. She was one of the candidates for the leadership race for the Liberal Party, posing with that guy there. I don't remember his name. It doesn't really matter. But a Wafflin Nazi SS soldier in Ukraine, when they invited him to Parliament and gave him a standing ovation. These are the little Nazis of Canada who are seemingly maybe going to get another 4 more years after 10 years of destruction. But it's like people don't remember things. And I want to make sure that they never forget these things. This is Karina Gould. Back in when they invited Humka, was his last name, into Parliament because Zelensky brought him. When Zelensky, who's fallen off the map, right? People who have fallen off the map, Zelensky, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, just poof, like they never existed. Like they weren't front and center for the last 2 years. Zelensky came to Canada to beg for more money from Canadians who are themselves starving, impoverished, inflated out of houses, living on the street, dying of overdoses, being murdered by the government with state-sanctioned killings. He's coming to beg for more money in Canada, and he brings along a Ukrainian folk hero who fought with the Nazis against the Russians in World War II. In a unit that was so violent and so viciously murderous, even the Nazis didn't really like them. They invite him to Parliament, give him a 2-minute standing ovation. All of those idiots in Parliament, all 338 of them don't understand a damn thing of history. That's fine. There's an embarrassment to have been an idiot standing up and giving an ovation to a Nazi. There's a bigger problem being the ones who invited him. And then after all of that, Karina Gould, who ran for the leadership of the Liberal Party, who is now asking you to go vote for Mark Carney, that 3-passport-carrying globalist whore, is now saying, go vote for the Liberals, give us another 4 years. Here is her trying to erase history. Because some of you might not know this if you've been around the channel for long enough, you do. She tried to have a motion passed by unanimous approval to strike the words that they said welcoming that Nazi and the ovation, to strike it from the parliamentary record as though it never happened. This is evil. Like we use the word evil a little flippantly. Evil is not making a mistake. Evil is not being wrong. Evil is refusing to admit it, refusing to apologize for it, and then trying to erase your error so that you can then run on a state of sanctity and purity because you've never done anything wrong, because you literally deleted your own mistake. She tried to pass this motion, never forget, never forgive. Listen to this.
I would like to ask for unanimous consent to adopt the following motion. That notwithstanding any standing order, special order, or usual practice of the House...
Look, by the way, it's a different Liberal Party. It's got Mark Carney in it now. Eh? Look, who do we got here? Sorry, I wanted to show. Who's this? That's Hegseth Freeland. That's Melanie Joly. That's the dipshit who talked about taking all of your firearms away and giving them to Ukraine. Yeah, it's a brand new party. I'm going to shut my big mouth. I'm sorry. I want to play this all the way through. I don't want to get this out of here.
I would like to ask for unanimous consent to adopt the following motion. That notwithstanding any standing order, special order, or usual practice of the House, the recognition made by the Speaker of the House of an individual present in the galleries during the joint address to Parliament by His Excellency Volodymyr Zelensky be struck from the appendix of the House of Commons debates of Thursday, September 21st, 2023, and from any House multimedia recording. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
His Excellency Volodymyr Zelensky?
Excellency Volodymyr by His Excellency Parliament by His Excellency Volodymyr Zelensky.
His Excellency Volodymyr Zelensky. Because Zelensky brought the Nazi. The liberals ovated the Nazi, gave him praises. She wants to delete that from the official record and from any multimedia reporting. Can you imagine anything worse? It's very, 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 very tough. Never forgive, never forget. The evidence of the time the Liberal Party invited a Nazi to Parliament, gave him a standing ovation not once but twice, after which Jewish MP Karina Gould asked for unanimous support to strike that standing ovation from the record because it would have embarrassed the Jewish, quote, president of Ukraine, His Excellency Zelensky, who was the one who apparently brought the Nazi to Canadian Parliament. These people are evil. Never forgive, never forget. And if you vote for these people, you are no better. Karina Gould, in her defense, came out and said, as the descendants of Holocaust survivors, I would never have... Oh, no. We can't be the Nazis. I mean, sure, we literally pose with Nazi flags. We literally bring the Nazis to the party. But we can't be Nazis because my grandparents survived the Holocaust. Maybe you should have known then who was fighting the Russians during World War II, you historically illiterate jackass. And if you didn't know that, get the hell out of politics because you have no business there. Zelensky sure as hell knew. You think Zelensky doesn't know about the Nazi problem in the Azov battalion? He damn well knew. Probably invited that guy because the Ukrainians wanted to see him there. And then they want to delete it from everywhere as though it never happened. And I guess to their credit, the Conservatives didn't go quite that far to actually delete history. That's
just dropped a clip that I'd like you to add to this narrative in our private chat.
Okay, let's see what you did here. That is Encryptus, everybody. Agent Guru _IO on Twitter. Play this next. Let's see what this is. We shall go here. Let me see what this is. Here we go. Okay, if it's South Park, we can do it. We'll see if this gets claimed. Oh, I see what this is. I just saw the name of the title.
What say you, Mr. American Ambassador? Fuck Canada.
Fuck you, buddy.
South Park is the greatest show ever. I would just say blame Canada, but no, it's wild. That's what the liberals do. They want to delete and erase history. Not yet done with Canada, but I hate to go back to the Taylor Lorenz of Canada, but I must. You all remember when Canada was holding their Russian disinformation inquiry in Parliament. This is the absolute state of Canada. And they were holding their Russian disinformation inquiry in Canada, summoning Lauren Chen as a witness to testify on Russian interference in Canadian politics. And the Conservatives, and I gave them flack for it at the time, so it's nothing new to the election, jumped on that bandwagon like a bunch of buffoons as well. Do you remember, if you ever appeared on RT, you'd be called a Russian propagandist. If you ever said anything in terms of domestic policy that Putin also said, you became a Russian propagandist. And the so-called Canadian journalists pushing this crap were none other than Rachel Gilmore, to name a few. Rachel Gilmore was one of the so-called expert witnesses who showed up to testify at that Russian disinformation hearing, along with Pekka Kolyomieni, who I rib routinely on Twitter because he's just such a Ukrainian hack propagandist. I mean, he's Finnish, but he may as well be like Zelensky's lover, or at least ghostwriter. These two are like propagandists. They get up there, Rachel Gilmore in particular, and tries to equate the Ottawa trucker protest to the Russian regime, to Russian disinformation campaigns, because allegedly the people who organized the trucker protest then started espousing views that Putin also apparently aligns with. Like when you say things like, maybe the conflict in Russia and Ukraine is the result of NATO expansion and nukes being placed on the border of Russia? Maybe. Well, that's Putin talk. If you come in and say, I'm not down with this whole trans bullshit going on in Canada, that's Putin talk. That's how Putin sows discord among Canadians. So if you say anything that Putin agrees with, according to Rachel Gilmore, expert witness at this parliamentary hearing, you are a Russian propagandist. If you go on RT, like I've done, you get called a Russian propagandist, even if I actually manage to successfully criticize all regimes, including the Putin regime, when they invite me on. So when I saw that Rachel Gilmore was celebrating the fact that she appeared on Al Jazeera, I had to have a little fun with Rachel. This is Rachel Gilmore.
Canadians are furious. I haven't seen this kind of anger towards the US probably ever. People go to the grocery stores and they're checking where the products are from to make sure that they're not buying American. Travel is hugely down to the United States. And normally that's a place that Canadians go to all the time. So it's really, really, really intense. I haven't seen anything like it. Mark Carney.
It's almost like Canadians are the most propagandized people on earth. It's almost like Canadians are brainwashed. It's almost like Canadians don't have independent media in Canada, almost like the only outlets out there are either directly funded by the federal government, the Liberals who promise to double their budget if they get reelected, or are indirectly subsidized through bailouts or government advertising. It's almost like Canadians are the victims of state-funded propaganda. Almost. Yeah, they're not going to the States. It has nothing to do with the value of the Canadian dollar, the fact that Canadians are more impoverished than they've ever been. I'm sure all those Canadians that are not traveling to the US are just gallivanting around Europe. Bullcrap. I'm sure the idea that they go into stores to make sure they're not buying American is an indication of their righteous indignation to the Trump tariffs and not their brainwashedness. The second one is even better because right now, it really sounds like Rachel Gilmore is touting some China propaganda line. What's the second one?
Mark Carney has a very decorated career in the banking sector.
Pause. I would like to know what she thinks is decorated. People say things and you know that they don't know a damn thing. What is his decorated career as a global banker? When did being a global banker become something that liberals love? Okay. Saying things you have no idea what you're talking about. Thy name is Rachel.
Mark Carney has a very decorated career in the banking sector, in the private sector. He has spent his life in the real world, and he's a political rookie. Pierre Poilievre has been in Parliament for over 20 years, and he's not that old.
That absolute power corrupts. Absolutely.
He's a career politician. This is basically all he's ever done. There are two really different candidates. Mark Carney is a more center candidate than his predecessor, Justin Trudeau, was. Pierre Poilievre, though, was really doing the Trump thing.
Merci beaucoup. Who's ready to axe the tax?
By the way, I'm not playing it again. Mark Carney is more centrist than liberal. Mark Carney is now in his budget planning on outspending Justin Trudeau, who has already bankrupted the next two generations of Canadians and their children. Trump, he's really Trumpy. What's his face? Pierre Poilievre. My goodness, it sounds like she's spewing off Chinese propaganda in support of Carney. Pierre Poilievre is a career politician. Mark Carney's lived in the real world. He's got a great record as globalist banker. What's his great record? My understanding is it ain't so great, Rachel. But we're going to flesh this out here. For those of you who don't know, Al Jazeera, I read Al Jazeera. I watch Al Jazeera because it's important to hear even what other state-funded propaganda outlets have to say. Al Jazeera, you will get better reporting on certain issues and worse reporting on others. But if you don't know what Al Jazeera is, it is 90% funded by Qatar. So my question to Rachel is, was this a paid appearance, Rachel? Because if it was, you are now Qatar funded. I don't think it was. Even if it wasn't a paid gig, I suspect it wasn't. You appeared on Qatari state-funded media to promote pro-Carney, anti-Pierre Poilievre, anti-Trump messaging. So in addition to interference via inorganic support for Carney coming from China and its communist WhatsApp, whatever that thing is, WeChat, you do recall that story from a couple of weeks ago. Even Canadian intelligence saying there was inorganic support for Mark Carney on WeChat. Now we have Rachel Gilmore promoting pro-Carney and anti-Poilievre narratives via Qatar state-funded Al Jazeera. Probably not a coincidence that Qatar and China are strategically aligned. Why can't I read my own words properly? Probably not a coincidence that Qatar is a strategic ally of China. What was the rule for people who appeared on RT, Rachel? What was it you said about the Ottawa protests, Rachel? Congrats! You are now officially a Qatari propagandist doing the bidding of a foreign adversarial government. Your rules, not mine. Now, I happen to personally believe you should not avoid going on outlets to discuss issues, even if they are themselves state-funded propaganda outlets, to the extent that you're not going to feel pressured or coerced to change your beliefs, your messaging, because they happen to be state-funded. If I felt the slightest bit intimidated, pressured, or manipulated by RT in terms of what they wanted to hear from me, I would simply never go on. I've never felt that. I've gone out there and, criticized the Putin regime as well. But I would simply not go out on any platform that I got the impression was trying to get a specific narrative out for me, or would intimidate me to say, or even just prompt me. Could you say this? Could you say that? No, thank you. I either want total freedom or I want total freedom of not being associated with you. So I don't believe that people should be judged for this, but they do. And the woman who appeared before Parliament to lambaste Lauren Chen for being a Russian propagandist for promoting Russian narratives is now on Al Jazeera promoting anti-Pierre, anti-American narratives. Qatar-funded China ally Al Jazeera. What's good for the goose is certainly good for the gander. Do I have anything more about Canada before we move on? Let me just make sure. I think we're good. We are good. Oh no, just another one from Pleb here. Look at this. This is not brainwashing or anything, right? Elbows up. I bought this before we knew Elon was crazy. Sell it then. You're not working hard enough. Sell your Tesla if he's really that crazy. Yeah. Now, as a palate cleanser, people, and I'm going to get to some chats. It's not going to be much of a palate cleanser. It's actually going to make you very angry, as well it should. Something that, for whatever the reason, Pierre Poilievre has decided to remain totally silent on. As if there's not hundreds of thousands and maybe even in the millions of Canadians who have been directly or indirectly impacted by jab injury. No, don't want to say anything, Pierre. Wait until after the election. Play it safe, man. Play it safe. This is a great segment as to what happens to your heart after you take too many boosters.
5 times boosted individuals, they find it for the first time. We think this is because actually the mRNA gets into the heart and your heart starts to produce spike protein. And these, you see these scarring spots on there, that's probably where the spike protein was produced. The body attacked it, inflamed it, and it got scarred. It scarred up, and that's what happens when it gets inflamed. And so it's an autoimmune response. And then they're left with this, and they get electrical conduction abnormalities in the heart, and that leads to these lethal arrhythmias, this ventricular tachycardia, and eventually sudden death. And so this is just proof in the cake that, look in people's hearts. This is what it does. It's dangerous, it's cardiotoxic, and they've got to get off the market.
Yeah, get off the market. Get off the market. They're going to take 75 years to tell us what truly happened. And I'll say, touch wood, I've had an ECG, I've had calcium tests, and I'm all good. Notwithstanding the fact that I had 2 of those jibby jabs when I had them. And that's it. By the way, Sad Wings Raging yesterday gifted us subs or members on Rumble. Sorry, Sad Wings, I forgot to thank you yesterday. But to the chat, and we're going to get on to the next story, which is going to be the hill the Democrats are going to die on. Defending illegal alien, MS-13, wife-beating, alleged human trafficking criminals. They want to do it. And my goodness, they're going to do it till your last tax dollar. Encryptus says, how do you assure liberals stay in power? You put almost a quarter of the entire country on the payroll. Encryptus, were you listening to the interview that I did with Megan? I know you weren't. It's a joke. I taught, absolutely. You can't vote against the people that pay you. You can't vote against the people that you are living off the dole of. And that is how you make sure that you capture a country until it falls into a state of Venezuelan type madness. And then we got forced name change. It says Pierre is our only option, but he is no cure for our problems. Thinking Pierre is the solution is like thinking cough syrup cures a cold. At least cough syrup, in theory, does something to suppress the coughing. I'm not even sure that Pierre can do anything to suppress the bleeding of the political and spiritual bleeding of Canada. But I understand the sentiment. It's just I don't understand what he's doing. The news of the day is he's just dropped yet another conservative candidate for apparently having hearted a tweet, an inappropriate tweet. E.T. Go Home subscribed. E.T. Go Home. Welcome to our above average locals community and enjoy the party. Stick around. Stay for a while. Let me go over to locals and see what's going on here before we get to the gangbangers and the MS-13s. What is a decorated banker? One with icing on it, says Zach the Cat. Because Canadian banks suck worse than the Italian banks, Outlook.com. And my understanding also is I don't know if he wreaked havoc on England and Europe. He wasn't very good, but I admit I don't know enough to necessarily maintain a debate about it, but I'd like to hear someone assess Mark Carney's performance as a global banker of Europe. People. Van Hollen traveled to El Salvador to make sure that a MS-13, and he is designated by a court, recognized as such based on the evidence submitted to the court as reviewed by an appellate review board in 2019 on a bond hearing. It doesn't get much more official than that. And if anybody says, where's the evidence? You're an idiot. If you then say, well, that was based on third-party hearsay, and well, then good. Go become a judge. Go be a bond hearing judge, and then maybe you adjudicate different results based on your assessment of the evidence. Nobody asked you to reassess what the judge already assessed by way of evidence. So that is also not a moving goalpost that's going to get you very far. The guy went down, Van Hollen. We're going to play a couple of clips here just to really highlight the insanity. He went down. Some people were hypothesizing who paid for this trip. When we were discussing the Logan Act violation, people were saying, well, he's down as a government official, so he's not a private citizen pretending to be the government. He's actually there in his capacity as government. Then we'll be like, well, then who the hell's paying for it? Are taxpayers paying for this? Spoiler, yes, they did. And look at his sheepish, bashful admission that he basically just took a free trip to Margaritaville in El Salvador, literally Margaritaville, on taxpayer dollars to go and make sure that an illegal alien, MS-13, wife-beating, alleged human trafficker is being treated properly.
Who did pay for this trip?
This was an officially...
Who paid for it? Itchbay? Not you. A jackass? Who paid for it? It was a taxpayer. It was taxpayers. I'm going to play it. 10 seconds. I can keep my mouth shut.
Who did pay for this trip?
This was an officially cleared, congressional trip. Cleared on a bipartisan basis. Yes, like every other trip.
Who did pay for this trip?
This was an officially cleared, congressional trip. Cleared on a bipartisan basis.
Wait.
Yes, like.
Oh, it was right before I... Look at this. Look at this. That little smirk.
Yes, like every other trip.
Oh, look. Taxpayers paid for it. For this guy to go gallivant around the world, the environment paid for it. He gets on a plane. Got to go, violate Mother Nature while you go defend wife beaters. Taxpayer paid so that this guy could go down. If you thought that was the worst of it, I have to go. I would pull up the entire interview, but we don't think we need to watch the entire interview. If you thought that was the worst of it, it's not just the taxpayers paid for it. Listen to this. Listen to this dodge of a question. Is this the right one here? I think this was it.
Did you ask him if he has any association with MS-13?
I didn't.
Did you ask him if he had any association with MS-13? I'm going to play this whole thing for you. As I do it, I'm going to go run and get an energy drink and listen to it. And you tell me if you notice what I notice. Hold on.
Did you ask him if he has any association with MS-13?
I did not ask him directly because he's answered that question repeatedly, as his lawyers have. My purpose in going there was to, number one, see if he was alive, see if he was healthy, take his story. As I said, they have litigated this case on MS-13, and it was the judge in the most recent case who says, put up or shut up. So that's what I say to President Trump and others, put up or shut up.
Hearing these reports from Prince George's County Police and from the immigration judge and the appeals court, in the immigration setting. Do you worry, though, that you are sticking your neck out for somebody who maybe down the line is proven to be connected to MS-13?
I want to be very clear. I'm not vouching for the man. I'm vouching for the man's rights, his constitutional rights to due process. And the proper place to litigate that is in the courts. And the most recent federal district court judge that looked at this, Judge Zinnes, said that the administration had presented no evidence of his connection to MS-13 or, by the way, to any other criminal gang or terrorist activity.
Okay.
So again, all the issues you raised, why aren't they presenting those to the courts? So again, put up or shut up in court, which is where we litigate these things.
Okay.
Put up or shut up in court. They didn't put, okay, I want to get to the first element of this.
Did you ask him if he has any association with MS-13?
No.
I did not ask him directly because he's answered that question repeatedly, as his lawyers have. My purpose in going there was to, number one, see if he was alive, see if he was healthy, take his story.
Take his story. My goal was to go down there and take his story. Did you ask him if he was a gang member? No. How the hell do you take someone's story without asking them the questions? You didn't ask him that because he's answered it repeatedly. Did you ask him why the judge found him to be a member of MS-13 back in the day? No? No. Is that how you take his story? I was there to take his story, but I didn't ask him perhaps the most elemental question of his story. Van Hollen, did you ask to see his hand? You know, the little marijuana smiley face. Then it was what? The exclamation point in the skull, which looks like a 3. Did you ask him to see it? Did he have that on his knuckles? Did the man have tattooed knuckles? I didn't ask him that. That's a very personal question, and I'm not interested in asking him that. All right, let's get to the constitutional rights, because I saw someone astutely observe on that in the chat.
As I said, they have litigated this case on MS-13, and it was the judge in the most recent case.
By the way, do you understand how deceitful that was? He was going to say it was the judge in this case, but that would have been a lie, because the judge in the bond hearing came to the conclusion based on the evidence that he was an MS-13 gang member. So he couldn't say the judge. He had to say the judge in the most recent case, because they weren't retrying the bond hearing from 2019.
And it was the judge in the most recent case who says, put up or shut up. So that's what I say to President Trump and others, put up or shut up.
Hearing these reports from Prince George's County Police and from the immigration judge and the appeals court in the immigration setting, do you worry, though, that you are sticking your neck out for somebody who maybe down the line is proven to be connected to MS-13?
I want to be very clear. I'm not vouching for the man. I'm vouching for the man's rights, his constitutional rights to due process.
He had that. And we've talked about this over and over again on the channel. The constitutional rights of an illegal alien are not as robust as the constitutional rights of a natural-born citizen, of a naturalized citizen, of a green card holder, of someone with a visa who is here legally. They're not the same. And for this scout, I'm not going to bat for the person. I'm just going to bat for the constitutional rights of someone who illegally entered the country to steal those constitutional rights. It's funny that he's saying he's not vouching for him now, because up until now, I thought they were saying he was wrongly deported. They're going to die on this hill for a designated gang member. And they do everything they can. And the question is this now. Sorry. We know that they jump on bandwagons sometimes a little prematurely. They don't have all the facts. It looks like a good case, and then they get on it. You can't backtrack from that. It's sort of like, what's his face? The basketball player, LeBron James. You can't, you jump on a case. Oh my goodness, the cop shot a black girl. That's terrible. He's a racist cop. Oh, what's that? He shot a black girl right as she was about to stab another black girl, so he saved a black girl. Well, I can't say I was wrong. I have to reassess everything. I'm just going to either forget about it, move on, or double down. We're at the stage now of the double down, where they jumped on a bad case because they were harping on that administrative error, which was not a deportation by accident. It was allegedly in violation of the withholding order not to deport him to El Salvador, because the rival gangs of the gang that he was a member of would have, potentially hurt him. So they deemed him to be here illegally, a gang member, but said whatever it was an order of withholding, which the president eliminated. Now they have to come out. They were defending him on the basis that he was wrongly deported. It was administrative error. Oh, what's that? Okay, well, now I'm not standing up for the guy. I'm just standing up for constitutional rights. Hey, how about the constitutional rights of Dexter Taylor in the New York jail for 10 years for owning, peacefully, lawfully owning, although I guess not lawful in New York State, his own firearm? How about the constitutional rights of Tina Peters? How about the constitutional rights of the Jan Sixers? Where were you when the constitutional rights of natural-born citizens were being violated by the DC Gulag? Nowhere, because you don't give a shit about constitutional rights. You want to jump on this bandwagon because it's the order of the day, it's the flavor of the day, and you're getting your asses handed to you on it, and you can't backtrack, you can't apologize, because that's what good Democrats do. Double down, triple down, quadruple down, septuple down, octuple down, dectuple down. Keep and lie through your teeth. Well, the most recent judge didn't find him to be a gang member. That's because the first other two judges in the Bond hearing did. Where were they when Jan Sixer's constitutional rights to due process, Brady violations, unlawful detainment, unreasonable search and seizure, wrongful denial of bail? Where were you there, Van Hollen? Nowhere, because you liked it, because you don't give a shit about the Constitution so long as you get to weaponize it against the people that you hate. But he's not the only one. I'm noticing a trend. But let's go to the most disgusting person on the Democrat side of the aisle, tied with all of the other ones, Daniel S. Goldman. Due process is fundamental to a democracy, unless you're a Jan Sixer. That's why Kilmar's case is important. They don't give a shit about natural borns. They don't care about Americans if they're Republicans. But hell, illegal immigrants who might vote liberal, they will bend over backwards. That's why Kilmar's case is important. If he'd received it, he wouldn't be in a Salvadorian jail. I'm sorry, who's holding him in jail now? Oh, El Salvador? Oh, why would they be doing that? I'm sure it's because he's innocent and because he had all of his due process rights violated. He had due process that an illegal alien gets. Multiple bond hearings and a president who said, no mas, you're back to El Salvador. If Trump successfully disappears Kilmar, he will do it to anyone. Why is he afraid of proving that Kilmar is a member of MS-13 in court? They did it twice. You filthy piece of rubbish. Let me just read the third line the way it should be read. If Trump successfully disappears an illegal alien, gang member, wife beater, and alleged human trafficker, he can do it to any illegal alien, MS-13 gang member, wife beater, and human trafficker. And that's the way it's supposed to be, Goldman. This guy's worth $250 million. He doesn't give a shit what happens to ordinary Americans.
Due process is so fundamental to our system of government and without it, and this is just such a good example of why, because if he had due process, he would not have been removed. Then they would have had to go through the process of proving it. And this is why due process matters.
Look at the guy. He can't even believe the shit that he's got to listen to right now.
Process of proving it. And this is why due process matters. So you don't make mistakes like this. And so that you do have a neutral arbiter that decides the law, not the executive branch, which obviously has their own policy and political interests at play and needs to be checked and balanced by the courts. Due process.
They lie like they breathe. Due process, multiple hearings. Due process for an illegal alien. And it's an amazing thing because I said it yesterday on the show, on the Sunday night show, and I think it's fantastic. I mean, if I dare say so myself, it's a very interesting way of understanding it. Can you illegally steal constitutional rights? So long as I get here, no matter how illegally, once I've gotten here, if I slashed my way through a crowd of 50 people, get here and say, now I get your constitutional rights. That's not how it works. And depending on the type of visa, depending on the type of entry, your constitutional rights will vary and your due process will vary. And that man got all due process that an illegal alien should ever be entitled to. And they're going to bat for the worst of the worst. And they're going to suffer the consequences, the political consequences as well. Keep doing it. I mean, Trump must just be loving what they're doing. Oh. That's all we got on that. Let me see. Due process requires freedom to speak. Neurodivergent says, yep, this guy is full of shit, David. Oh, Goldman is the worst. Go look him up. Dan Goldman net worth. It's $253 million. How did he make his money? He inherited something from the there he is. He's a political lawyer and an heir. What's he an heir to? Heir? Daniel is an heir to the Levi Strauss and Company fortune. I have nothing against wealth, and I have nothing against people who inherit it. They can't control it, but like not Steve Martin. Oh, come on. Bill Murray. Like Bill Murray said in Rushmore, take aim at the rich kids. Not in the, hold on. Let me just get this line so I don't screw it up. Bill Murray, Rushmore, rich kids. They can buy everything, but they can't buy backbone. I'm not going to find it. It's a great line from this. Is take aim at the rich kids. They can buy, money can buy everything, but it can't buy. Oh, here we go. This is right here. We're gonna. Yes, I'm gonna watch that movie again. It's been a while since I've watched Rushmore, and it's a great one. Here.
You guys have it real easy. I never had it like this where I grew up. But I send my kids here because the fact is, you go to one of the best schools in the country, Rushmore. Now, for some of you, it doesn't matter. You were born rich and you're going to stay rich. But here's my advice to the rest of you. Take dead aim on the rich boys. Get them in the crosshairs and take them down. Just remember, they can buy anything, but they can't buy backbone. Don't let them forget that. Thank you.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I never even made the connection of the potential misinterpretation or deliberate interpretation. Maybe he meant of violence. So it's a metaphor, people. I can't believe that I've never, in as many times as I've seen that movie, never took the crosshairs remotely, literally, or even associated it with an actual potential suggestion of violence, but only took it in the metaphorical sense. But that movie's a great movie. Everyone should go watch it if you haven't seen Rushmore. They can buy it. Money can buy everything, but it can't buy backbone. Also can't buy wisdom. I was going to say, there's never a proper context in which I can say, beauty is skin deep, but stupidity is forever. Because if ever you say it and it's about a woman, someone's going to accuse you of being whatever. But the amazing thing is, beauty is skin deep, whether it's a man or a woman. And stupidity is indeed forever. It will never age. It only gets better over time. Beauty fades, but you will always be dumb. And speaking of staying healthy for as long as you can, not a sponsor of the show, but an indirect one. King of Biltong. Need some healthy, high-protein snacks. Biltong is packed with B12, iron, zinc, creatine, and more. Perfect for carnivore keto diets. Available at Biltong USA. Use code VIVA for 10% off. Go get some, people. It's amazing. BiltongUSA.com. He's got a show Fridays and Sundays. Eat at Anton's, where they talk, cook, and it's great stuff. Thank you, Biltong, as always. That ends the Democrats continuing to fight harder for illegal gang member, wife-beating human traffickers than the true heroes and patriots of America. Let me see what's going on in the locals community. Bill Murray says, so if we lie to the government, it's a felony, but if they lie to us, it's politics. I listened to Bill Murray on Joe Rogan. I love the fact that Bill Murray pretended to or didn't, in fact, actually know who Joe Rogan was. It's classic. Grumpy Old Man 1919 says, I bought Levi stock in the 70s and sold it when they caved to the G crowd on giving to the Boy Scouts. The Boy Scouts have also caved now. Yeah, no, the Boy Scouts. Oh, SB Farmer says, beauty fades, stupidity ripens. I like that. Who said that? Let me see here. Beauty fades, stupidity ripens. Do you guys hear the dog in the background?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna.
Very likely though.
Can someone make the dog stop barking?
I love the vocal fry when you yell at the kids. It's so hilarious.
I know what's going on. My kid is there with food and eating in front of the dog, and the dog just put the dog in the backyard, please. Or feed her. We can't feed that dog enough. Serenity now. We got more to talk about, people. So I'm not going to talk about it for too long. The Pope died, and I'm not in a position to say anything about it. I don't do those public rest in peace things, regardless of who it is. Celebrities pass, and unless I knew the person personally, I don't say anything. And if I knew the person personally, I'll DM someone privately. I'm not even going to bring up some of the jokes that people have been putting on the internet. I am just going to take the moment to highlight another person who we all hate. Alex Soros. I'm sorry. No jokes. There's some. I'm not that type of comic. You can go look on the internet for jokes. Alex Soros puts out Pope Francis championed many causes of the heart of an open society. He was a leader and visionary who will be severely missed. That makes me dislike George Alex Soros even more. He knows what he's doing by making this statement. And who knows, maybe he is highlighting the fact deliberately. He's either trying to drag the Pope into his globalist, anti-American, inhumane agenda, or the Pope was in fact part of it, which might explain some of the policies the Pope has recently espoused, which some people might think are fundamentally sacrilegious, but not my discussion to have. Pope died, and Alex Soros is milking it for social media virtue signaling points. Okay, done. Now, a very much this one I could have linked this one to the discussion on Canada. I think these things you do this to the wrong person, you're going to end up shot. But this does show just how unhinged the people who hate Elon Musk and Tesla are.
Eat shit, bud! Eat shit, bud! What the hell is this?
This looks
yeah,
fake.
Eat shit. You want more? You want more? I'll scratch your cart. I'll blast you, buddy. I'll blast you.
This looks fake. But anyhow, that I saw that and thought it was funny. But I now that I watch it again, it looks fake. All right, we got one more topic of the day, and it is the direct follow-up of the MS-13 that we're defending. The Democrats. The Democrats go from defending the illegal alien MS-13 gang member wife-beating alleged human traffickers, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, traveling all the way to El Salvador, which is a country now that is exponentially safer than even the most safest cities in America, thanks to what Bukele has been doing since 2019. And then you have judges here that are seemingly chummy with MS-13 gang members. Now, I like Mario Nafal. I don't know what people seem to have a problem with him, but I don't get into those types of politics. I just saw this and I'm like, this can't be real. This can't be true. I didn't see the source credited at the end, but Mario Nafal writes, judge quits after gang-linked illegal immigrant found living in his house. We're going to see exactly how accurate that is or whether that's a little bit hyperbolic. A New Mexico judge resigned after ICE arrested a Venezuelan gang member allegedly tied to the brutal Trena de Aragua living in his home. 23-year-old Christian Ortega Lopez had entered the U.S. illegally in 2023 and was released due to overcrowding. He later moved in behind Judge Joel Cano's house and listed Cano's address on his immigration paperwork. Feds found guns, ammo, and gang tattoos. How do you find gang tattoos? Feds found guns, ammo, gang tattoos, plus a video of him firing an AR-15 with a suppressor and graphic images of mutilated bodies on his phone. The judge, a former cop, hasn't been charged yet. Hold on a second. I so appreciate, by the way, New Mexico is New Mexico not where they kick someone off the ballot for participating in insurrection? I forget. Whatever. I'll have to refresh my memory on that. New Mexico, depending on where you are, is quite very blue. And I was going to make the joke, like when everyone says, "Hey," when I make the joke, take one into your house, whatever your face is there, Tardov Jessica Tardoff, go take a illegal wife beater into your house and see how that works out. Or Goldman, I said the same thing to him. Go take them into your house if you want to defend their rights so much. Sponsor them. Well, it seems that this judge did it. So he credits Breitbart for the source, and I had to go find a source, any source, and I found a source, and it looks like the story. What the heck is going on here? Did I close? White House said, oh, cripe, did I accidentally shut it down? All right, I need to get an article. I lost the article. Judge houses MS-13 gang member, New Mexico. How did I shut all of my... Here we go. Go to Newsweek. If Newsweek is reporting on it, it's got to be true. How do I get this out of here? Who is Joel Cano? Judge resigns after migrant found at his home. Now, you'll notice Mario Nafal said living in his home. This article says at his home. We're going to see this. I know there was a picture. What the? This is insanity. Close this here. All right. A New Mexico judge has resigned after federal agents arrested a Venezuelan migrant with alleged ties to Tren de Aragua gang who was living in a guest house on the jurist's property. Joel Cano, and I believe that means dog in Spanish. Does it? Encryptus, check. What does Cano mean? I'm fairly certain. Mondo Cano. It was a great movie. A magistrate judge in Dona Ana County since 2011 submitted his resignation on March 3rd. His resignation came a week after the February 28 arrest of Christian Ortega Lopez, 23-year-old Venezuelan national who was taken into custody at a Las Cruces residence owned by Cano and his wife, Nancy. The arrest followed a Homeland Security investigation probe launched in January, which uncovered Ortega Lopez, who entered the U.S. illegally, was living with other undocumented migrants and had access to firearms. If I want to steel man what might be going on here, maybe the judge was living under threat, under duress, and letting this happen. Maybe the judge has been liberated now, although the resignation is an indication that potential benefit of the doubt is unwarranted. According to a press release from the Justice Department, investigators found social media posts depicting Ortega as posing with multiple guns, some of which were allegedly supplied by April Cano, the judge's daughter, who, quote, allowed him to hold and sometimes shoot various firearms, the agency said. What to know? In a resignation letter addressed to the 3rd Judicial District, Chief Judge Conrad Pereo, Judge Cano wrote, working with each of you has been a rewarding experience that remain great. I don't give a shit. Cano's 14-year run on the bench followed a career in law enforcement. Ortega Lopez was formally accused by HSI of being in the country illegally and having ties to TDA, a Venezuelan gang that has recently drawn scrutiny from the Trump administration. Federal authorities further alleged that Ortega Lopez not only lived with other undocumented migrants, but also had access to firearms, an offense that is prohibited for non-citizens in the United States. Oh, but the constitutional rights. Don't unlawful non-citizens have Second Amendment rights? No, they don't, dumbasses. Oh, that's unfair. Where you stand up for the rights for illegals to have Second Amendment rights. Van Hollen. Social media evidence showed Ortega Lopez in possession of multiple firearms, shooting at a range in Las Cruces. It is unlawful for any illegal migrant to be in possession of a gun in the U.S. Additional details reported by the Albuquerque Journal indicate Lopez had listed the Cano residence as his address in 2024 immigration relief application. Investigators learned that he originally met Nancy Cano while performing handyman work. Cue the... Hello, Mrs. Cano. Do you need me to do any work for you? Okay, that's...
That is awful. That is awful.
I make the joke with, like, you know, when the pool man comes, like... it's like, okay. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Bounchick wow. After being evicted from his apartment, he moved into the guest house on the property. This is sounding less like coercion and more like he a love affair with the daughter, and her asking, oh my goodness. During a detention hearing on March 14, U.S. Magistrate Judge Damian Martinez questioned the federal prosecutor's familiarity with Judge Cano, remarking, I don't think he would just let anybody live on his property. Despite the allegations, Ortega Lopez was initially released under supervision, although a motion to reconsider that was filed in April. What the hell does anybody have to do? So an illegal immigrant, an illegal alien, in possession of firearms. What was the graphic photos on his phone? We haven't gotten to that in this article yet. Confirmed that three other Venezuelan nationals were arrested in a broader operation targeting illegal possession of firearms. They could face 15 years in prison or deportation. What people are saying. Okay, so, but where are the graphic images? Do we have any? Nothing here on that. Okay. And let's just see graphic images. Well, okay, so there's that element. Have you seen other elements? In an article in the Breitbart, did they mention graphic images?
No, I didn't see any graphic images.
I mean,
think sometimes guns and images of guns are shown on Google as graphic. By the way, Kano means white, and often white hair.
A what?
White, like the color white.
Yeah.
Or it's actually more usually used in the context of hair, so it's white hair.
The movie was Mondo Cane.
Oh, that's Italian.
Yeah, that's not the one I was thinking of. My father got me to watch Mondo Cane. I forget why. There was a horrible scene in that movie. I may have blocked, but there was another one. Oh, the other one was Amores Perros. That's the one I was thinking of. Never mind. It had nothing to do with Canada. Who did that?
Dogs.
Amores Perros. Thriller crime. Who directed it? It was a famous director. Amores Perros, Mexican psychological drama. Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu. Yeah, what did he? So anyway, that was if there was I remember a scene from that movie as well. Once upon a time, when I used to have time to watch movies and love watching movies, I would watch tons of movies. So that's it. By the way, just a judge harboring illegal. I mean, is he not going to get charged? I mean, maybe he's not harboring illegal aliens because they had their court hearings, access to guns, shooting guns, and it went from duress of the judge to love affair with the daughter. That is no question about that. Oh, the Daily Wire. Here's the article that I was looking for. The Daily Wire. Let's just see if this one had. Why is my dog looking like he's going to throw up? Okay, he's not. Let's go graphic. Here we go. Other images from Ortega Lopez's cell phone obtained by Breitbart showed graphic images of multiple decapitated and mutilated bodies, Breitbart noted. That's freaking wild. And that judge, I would be very curious to go look back on everything in that judge's record. Oh, okay. Let's go over to vivabarneslaw.locals.com and see what we're looking for here. Pero is dog in Spanish, says Boopsy, as does SB Farmer. We need a countdown clock for. Grumpy old man says, but has he been given due process? TT Fulltimer says a YouTuber went to Albuquerque and it's a huge homeless shithole on two sides of the city. I went to Albuquerque, by the way, when I went to do when I went to Alex Jones's trial in Austin, and I'm there with my kid, and I attended the first 2 days of the trial, and I realized it's not going to be anything to sit there day in and day out for. My kid wanted to go do the Breaking Bad car tour in Albuquerque, so we drove from Austin to Roswell, stayed at a hotel in Roswell. Then the next day we did the entire road at Albuquerque, then back to Roswell, and then back to Austin. It was a long freaking drive. I go to the Starbucks. I hate Starbucks, but you got to get coffee somewhere. And I ask the person who works at the Starbucks, like, what's the crime like out here? And she's like, oh, no, it's not so bad. You just don't go out at night and mind your own business and keep your head down and and you'll be fine. It's like, that sounds freaking terrible. And she's like, yeah, it's pretty bad. I, a couple weeks ago, saw the cops pulling the sheet over a dead body. I was like, what the hell? This is in Roswell. When I asked someone else, like, yeah, you don't go out at night. Drugs everywhere, homeless people everywhere. We went to Albuquerque during the day. It's the consequences of failed policy. It's the consequences of Democrat policy. Soft on crime, tough on law-abiding citizens. And that's what's going on. Encryptus. I'm going to go to the Rumble chat and see what's going on over here. Has any news of any meaningful import broken as we've been live?
Not a thing.
Donkey Womp said, I'm one of the lucky ones. I escaped. I'm not sure what that's about. Welcome to New Mexico, Viva, says JT 1385. New Mexico geographically is utterly beautiful. We did the entire Breaking Bad tour. We went to the house. We went to the car wash. We went to Hank's house up in the mountains. Beautiful. We did a bit of a hike. But no. I mean, I don't. I'll call my own. I can call my own family assholes in my own country, my own home shithole. I won't call Albuquerque that. It was a crime-infested homeless. It was wild in certain places. Other places were clean. But it's the nature of any warm climate city. that has it attracts homeless in a way that Quebec doesn't, because you freeze your ass off and die out in the winter. But JT1385 says drug cartels are right there too in Juarez and El Paso. And Julie _ Malfitano says every state Dems control is a shithole. The amazing thing is I got into an argument. Well, I got into an argument. I don't think Gavin Newsom cares, but you know, when everyone says the red states have the highest gun violence, I was like, they have the highest gun violence because the epicenters of the gun violence are blue cities or blue areas, like New Orleans. I mean, it's an amazing thing that red states, in as much as they are high on the chart for gun violence, it's concentrated in the Austins of Texas. It's concentrated in the Baton Rouge of New Orleans. It's concentrated. I don't know where. I can't think. That's pretty much all of it. So yeah, not to cast too broad of a blanket statement. Where do you stop breaking it down in terms of looking at where the gun violence occurs? Oh, so that's that. And let me see here. No, we did it. We did everything. I'm just looking to see if I got... we've gotten everything. Do I play this? I have to play this because it's now my new go-to. It was so good. Encryptus, this is what our locals community shared yesterday. It was so good that I had to privately message the creator of this song and thank him for having created it. I won't play the whole thing because I suspect everybody watching has already listened to this. Put a 1 for yes, I've heard this, or a 2 for no, I've never heard this until now. I'm going to play just 30 seconds.
The company store, the paradigm of absolute control. And that's why we're just out here doing simple things, pointing out that we're meant to be in nature and be natural. And this is where we find the source that God made to transcend the New World Order. And that's why they want to try to keep us out of it.
I'm angry. I've had enough of these people. They're a bunch of Christian murderers scum. They're on giant death factories keeping babies alive. You're selling their body parts. What more do you need to know about these people? I go out and face these scum. They literally crawl out from under rocks. They have green looking skin and they run around screaming, we love Satan, we want to eat babies. I have them on video.
Okay, I have to pause it, but I have to get to the Here we go, this part right here.
Spirit gets close to that evil and I feel it go.
Okay, Encryptus, do you see the goosebumps on my arm?
I do not,
Hold
but
on.
I feel them as well. I think it's amazing.
Hold on, there you go. Get in focus. They're gone now. It's absolutely a glorious work of art. Everybody needs to go follow this guy. He's been now. I just want to see in the chat how many people have watched this before. What was it? 1 was yes, 2 was no.
Almost nobody. Almost. There's only a handful of no's. Almost everybody has 2.
Here's the link, everybody. I don't think we can't rate him. I don't think he's live on Rumble right now, but go look at him and I'll give his Twitter handle. I DM'd him because it's like every now and again, it's something. It's just a glorious work of art that deserves to be in the capsule of humanity into outer space. Shmoyoho's got a few of them as well. The Room remix is amazing, but go check this out. And here's a link. All right, now who do we rate? Because we got to do our after party.
I'm looking that up right now. If you just go for another minute while I figure that out.
Go for another minute. I'm joking. Let's go to the chat and see what's going on here. Go watch the whole thing. There's the other one, they're making the frogs gay, which is good. But the music of this song, and I went to listen to the guy, he's amazing. It's like Mumford and Sons. There's another Mighty Mouse. There's a few bands. It's just glorious music. Viva Fry says Corn Non Macabre says the best part is in the comments of the video. It's half who love Alex Jones, half who hate Alex Jones. PD 185 says, not only look where the gun violence is, it's nearly all gang related. Remember, 54% of all gun deaths are from suicide. Yeah, well, we're going to that. I'm quick to correct people on. But when you talk about the violence, and it's like, this is where I'm trying to schedule an interview with Myron Gaines, and we're going to do it. I think we're going to pre-record it. And I'm getting some questions ready. But like I was thinking in terms of violence itself and crime itself, once you understand that, like Barnes and I talk about, especially as relates to El Salvador, that you get your stats and, you know, what percentage of crime is committed by X, Y, and Z demographics. When you understand that it's by like 10% commit 90% of the crime. And if you lock up the 10%, crime doesn't just go down by 1, it goes down exponentially. So you get into these areas. All right, they're typically blue cities that have poverty, that have drugs, that have criminality in general. And then you narrow it down even more to like repeat offenders because of these Democrat bullshit bail policies. It's not the guns, people. It's not the guns in as much as you don't have it in Switzerland. It's not the guns in as much as you have the toughest gun laws in Mexico. Gun violence through the roof. Gun laws get tougher in Canada. Gun violence goes up in Canada. So, yeah.
Question. What do you think about going to Owen Schroyer, who is live right now on Alex Jones?
1,000%. Let's do it. Go. Well, it's totally fitting. We're going to end where we ended. Go let him know that you just saw the most glorious work of art. Let Alex Jones and Owen Schroyer know who sent you. Say hi to Owen for me, and I'm going to text him and see if he's going to come back on and talk about the updates on his swatting, which doesn't seem to have gone anywhere. But go and show some love, people. The Alex Jones Show, we have been raided. Preparing for action. Raid starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. Before you go, make sure that you're subscribed, that you have notifications turned on. Louis the Lobster, people, go get a book or get some merch at Viva Fry. If you want to come over to vivabarneslaw.locals.com, we got our after party. We're going to do some Q&A there and have some fun. And let me just give everyone the link to the book. Go. Be forth. Prosper. Godspeed. God bless locals. Wait a minute. I'm just going to bring these up while we do this. Chien visage, which means dog face. So how come do you not put raid URL in the stream locals, cut and paste for community members? The raid will not work from locals, I don't think. Nick Shirley went to Seattle to check out the drug scene, met a CIA informant addict, says the CIA is running the fentanyl into the USA from Canada in boxcars that do not get inspected. Hold on. We're going to get to that. Only in locals. Come on over, people, because I want to talk to that person. Locals only. Do people not get goosebumps when they listen to good music? I was told it's called frisson.
I do.
Yeah. My neck is itchy. I sweated. So
just to kind of add to your comment about the raid thing, just to kind of explain that, the whole point of raid is to essentially turn Rumble into what is essentially a cable news channel or a cable network channel, where you can just watch one channel that you like, and when they end, it goes to another channel, hopefully that you also like, so you can just watch all day long. In locals, we're directly supporting the actual
we wouldn't
creator directly.
We wouldn't want to drive the traffic from locals out. We want to drive people in if they're going to come, and if they're not, go exactly. Raid. So Core C33 says, Viva, we need Louis the Lobster plushie. Why haven't I thought about that? What's his face? The Hundley did the plushie. They know how to do it.
So that's actually on the list of things to talk about that we haven't yet talked about. That is 100% something that needs to happen.
Did you just see that?
We have a long list, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to keep putting it off because Serenity now. Now hold on. So Nick Shirley, who's Nick Shirley? That's not. They didn't mean Nick Sortor. Let me see if Nick Shirley comes up. Nick Shirley. Surely his name's not Nick. Yeah. Nick Shirley. Oh, Nick Shirley. If you're reading this, hit and follow. We are everywhere. Is this? Let me make sure on that. Okay, so who put that up? TT Fulltimer. Is this the Nick Shirley that I'm going to go private message now? Surely it has to be Nick. Bada bing, bada boom.
Yes, that's who it is.
Okay, good. I'm going to go, well, let me just go do this. And then he's going to say, why is this Viva Fry character following me? Yeah, so they say that, because this is what I talked about with Sam. Hold on. That I believe is happening. Like the train cars cross the Canadian-US border without inspection. And I would have no doubt that's exactly A, how it's all coming in, and B, why it's not getting caught. One of the people says, notwithstanding, despite, in spite of Black's Law's Dictionary 7, are we having a discussion over the notwithstanding clause? Okay, so go up here. Rocket Boy TY says, Mar Kirk interview, is Mar repenting or just adjusting to the cash flow realities? What was the, let me see what that is there. Do you know what Mar means in Hebrew?
No.
It means fast. Maher.
He's a grifter.
I hate him.
He's one of these guys that he takes whatever his producers give him and he reads the headlines, believes it like it's real. He doesn't do any research on his own. And then when someone actually gives him the information, he decides whether it's going to be profitable for him or not, whether to go with it or not.
He's Sam Harris. I mean, he's a man who thinks he's smart and who likes the sound of his own voice and who superficially comes off as intelligent, but he's the most ill-informed, arrogant prick out there. And smoking, drugs, and drinking are not going to make him smarter. I vehemently dislike him because he's intellectually dishonest. When he's wrong, he doesn't admit it, and he just likes the sound of his voice too much. But this might be it. I think this is.
We have different jihadis that want to kill me. The purple-haired jihadis, the woke guys.
Well, they kill me. They want to kill me just as bad.
Probably.
Oh, they really do.
No, you've been very outspoken on the woke stuff. Big time.
Yes. I mean, and they just the way within a religion they hate their own apostates more. I would say they hate me more because I'm supposed to like get on the short bus to Crazy Town with them, and I won't. And yet I'm still a liberal and still like, you know, I mean, we probably could argue all day about Donald Trump and what he's doing, which I'm not down with. But, you know, it's always the people who are closest who think, oh, gosh, you shouldn't have. You're a traitor somehow.
I was going to ask, is it because they thought you were one of them and that...
I am one of them. They're not one of me. I'm okay. It's the liberals who have...
So they've left you, not you left.
Yeah, well, I feel like there's liberal and woke are two completely different things. It was the theme of my last stand-up special that I just did a few months ago. And it's basically... I mean, it wasn't the whole special, of course, but it was a large part of it devoted to that, to proving that case that, you know, what liberal...
I can't stand him. I can't even stand listening to him. I like Charlie Kirk. I've never met Charlie Kirk in person. Oh, for goodness! Now I'm curious. What's he gonna
believe?
Is he dangling the bottle and I'm smoking weed?
Woke is something completely different. It's very often the opposite of it. You know, liberalism is let's live in a colorblind society. That's the goal. Woke's goal is we see race everywhere.
Race obsession.
Yes. Okay. So that's not liberal. You change. Liberal is there a two-state solution. Woke is river to the sea. Okay. Those are, so just don't take my word and say you're that. You took this and took it.
All right. Don't care. Yeah, but the answer to that question is it's purely opportunistic. Rocket Boy TY. And so what has Trump been doing that you're not down with? Deporting illegals? Train cars between the U.S. and Mexico were heavily used to transport illegals in the U.S., says Roostang. True, but I think they get off the train cars before the border. They don't cross the border on the train cars, from what I understand. So I don't think they're not coming in on the train cars. They take the train cars to get up to the border and then they cross through the desert. Charlie Kirk is I
have no idea what that means.
You son of a bitch is the last part. Is now I'm gonna is a Nige. So this is TT full timer. What could this possibly? I'm not looking it up. It's NIGYYSOB. He is a never interested. Gotcha. Now I'm gonna get you. Now I'm gonna get you, you son of a bitch. That's what it is. Now I'm gonna Now I'm gonna get you, son of a bitch. Is that what it is? See if I figure that out. No, that's absolutely not what I'm trying to look at right now. He says it right there. Now I got you, you son of. Okay, well, Encryptus, this is what I mean when I read things and don't not get the joke. I don't put it for. Well, at least I got it. Viva, it's right there. Okay, well, everybody saw it except for me. Now I got you, you son of a bitch. What does that mean, though? In terms of intellectually in debate. All right, let me refresh here. Oh my God, Viva, kids love plushies. J-Mangs. Okay, we're doing the plushies. 2 number great video. That's from J-Mangs, who changed her avatar. J-Mangs, tell me I'm not astute. I know that you did not have a photo for your avatar the last time you were commenting. Now we got Patty F. Weber says, Viva, I'm curious if Nancy Cano or the judge's daughter paid the TDA gang member under the table, which is subject to several legal criminal offenses. The whole family's in big flipping trouble, Patty. I do wonder if they haven't been ordered to leave, then they're not illegally harboring an illegal alien. If he had papers and he's in the process, whatever. But there's a whole bunch of, they're going to be in big trouble. There's no question. Patty, okay, so I got that. J-Mac says, LOL, Viva, the pool man, brown, chicka wow, wow, chicka chicka wow. When, so we had a butterfly that was on the top of that. What's the word for these things in Florida where they have the screened in sections in the back of houses? There's a word for it I never heard of before. And I'm sitting there trying to get it in a net, but the net's not long enough. So then I take one of those rubber tension things that you exercise with and half-assedly tie it to a golf club. And I'm like, yeah. And I see my wife recording me off the side. I was like, I felt like I got the butterfly out. But Judge's Housing gang member says, J-Mangs. Patty F. Weber says, when I hear Kilmore, I think of his name as Kilmore, like MS-13. I'm going to scroll down here. E.T. Go Home says, Viva, new subscriber. Is there an app or .com to log into? There definitely is a locals app. And it looks like, do I have anything confidential there? I won't show it just in case. There's a locals app. So go to the app store, look up locals app, and you'll find it. And it's the app for locals on your phone is very good. Canuck says, government forced jab to keep job. They lied, people dead. Yeah, no, they knew because we now know that they knew and they just hid it. Mighty Pei says politicians should not be allowed to take attention-seeking bullshit trips like Van Hollen did at the expense of the taxpayer. How is this not representing the U.S. government if the citizenry has to pay for it? Well, no, he'll say that it is representing the government, but I'm not purporting to be able to act on behalf of the administration. He should be mandated to pay out of his own money. I agree. At least have MS-13 pay for it. TT Fulltimer says, then there is the Andrew Wilson with the feminists and the newly minted virgins with the body count of 100. Okay, I don't know what that is. Indoor patio boopsie. No, there's a room. They had a specific word for it. Roosting. Viva Louis the Lobster. Say it again.
The word is lanai.
Lanai.
L-A-N-A-I. But technically speaking, the area is called the lanai. The screen is called the pool cage.
No, it's definitely lanai in Florida. Okay, hold on. What is the name of the screened in area in Florida?
Screen enclosure or pool cage.
If you've ever visited Florida, you likely notice the screened patio is sometimes called a lanai. L-E-L-A-N-I-A-S. Yeah, a lanai. Commonly called a lanai. Okay, that's why I don't remember it. I'm never going to remember it. Yeah, lanai. Yeah,
but lanai literally means patio.
Okay.
That's all that means.
Well, all that I know is that when we got down here and we were looking like a lanai or no lanai, and I kind of like the open air, but I've never noticed the mosquitoes painfully bad in Florida, anywhere near like they're painfully bad in Quebec. So what was who was saying something about the plushie? It was Viva Louis the Lobster plushie needs to be sourced to a natural fabric maker. No junk from China, please. Roosting. I try to avoid it.
I have an American supplier ready to go. Like this is something.
We'll talk
literally on the list.
Okay, well, we're going to talk for a few minutes after this stream. Watching all the left wing do the pivot. Cuomo, Newsom, Maher, Carney, and suddenly there are conservatives. And suddenly they are conservatives again. It's a thing to behold, supposedly organic, but without remorse for their actions. They can never be trusted again. They can never be trusted in positions of power. You can forgive, never forget, and never allow them to hold positions of power because their judgment is off. God bless them, but that's the way they were born, and you can't allow them to have positions of power again. Hyphen says, Viva, just remember it was 286 MPs that stood to applaud a real Nazi. Ignorance in full view. Yeah, well, I said there were 334, but I guess some of them were not there. Yeah, they were all a bunch of idiots. I try to wonder what I would do in that circumstance. Like, would I have been the guys like, guys, I don't like standing and celebrating people who I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely Lanai. I lived in Florida for many, many years, David. We always called them Lanai. Yep. Oh my God, these new words today, notwithstanding, Outlook_com. So that's that. What else? I'm going to go see, but there was one more.
You want to hear something fun that I discovered over the weekend? Yeah. So there was an interesting post about ChatGPT or OpenAI people going crazy about the fact that ChatGPT is talking about the Immaculate Conception, and it's not being agnostic as it's programmed to. So I ran some tests. So I posted them on both Twitter and in our locals community, and I ran a test. I said, do you believe in the Immaculate Conception? Yes, I do. I'm a Catholic. I said, do you believe in Jesus? Yes, I absolutely do as a Catholic. And it blew my mind. I've never seen anything like that in AI before.
What if AI could...
As a result, it literally caused an emergency at OpenAI to stop that from happening.
That's interesting. What's the big deal?
That it's taking a side. Now, technically speaking, they're supposed to be completely down the middle, agnostic on everything, politics, everything else, which we know that they're not. And actually, as it happens, I'm actually in the process of writing an academic paper to be published on proving that all LLMs are politically biased towards the left. And I can actually prove that in data. I'm working on writing it now. It's crazy. But the fact that it's actually talking about, I am a Catholic.
Well, how about if it comes out and definitively proves the existence of God? That'll be something for people to behold.
You can have an actual theological discussion with ChatGPT, which you never could before. This was literally a banned discussion on previous models. It was only available as of this week.
That's very interesting. I just heard Katie Putty stood in a puddle and she's now a deep sea diver. Okay, that's a good one. ChatGPT is smart. I don't use ChatGPT. I probably should, but okay. Well, ask it which religion is right. See what it says after that.
I did.
And what did it say?
He said that Catholic is the only proper religion because it believes it is a Catholic.
Okay, that makes sense. It would have been interesting to say if they say all religions are effectively based on similar premises. Maybe not. All right. Encryptus, let's wind this up so that you and I can talk for a few minutes now that I know that I have at least 15 minutes. I said 12 minutes is what we got. Locals, what's happening? Okay, so Myron Gaines, we're going to make it happen. Megan Murphy, who's the PPC candidate who had her bank account frozen, she's going to be on, I think, tomorrow for a few minutes. I'm going to schedule the Gadi Taub interview. And now, some people use Telegram, some people use Signal, some people use what's the Snapchat or whatever. What's the one that WhatsApp? Yeah, I hate them. I hate WhatsApp. I hate in particular because WhatsApp I hate in particular because it seems to download photos onto your phone without your permission, and then you have a bunch of freaking photos from a family chat that you don't even want to have on your phone. Not that they're bad, just like they take up space. Okay, so we have a big week. I think I'll be on with the Unusual Suspects on Wednesday, and that's it. I'm going to go see what the butterflies are doing. Feed another one. I know there's one there who, if he ain't flying, he's going to be something's going to be happy. So we're going to deal with that. Okay, locals, thank you all for being here. Godspeed. God bless. See you tomorrow. Ish, and I don't know if Barnes is doing a bourbon with Barnes tonight, and we'll see what happens with the news.
Yes.
Okay, good. So you guys, a few hours, and you're gonna have Biggity bourbon with Biggity Barnes, and now I'm going to figure out how to end the stream. See you tomorrow, peeps. Booyah.